Hey YouTube, Silent Shooter here, and just got back from Bossier City, Shreveport, Louisiana, playing at Horseshoe and El Dorado and a little bit of Samstown. Just wanted to give you a quick trip report, give you some uh, table conditions, minimums, and whatnot. So first thing, El Dorado. El Dorado has four tables. Three of them are 14-foot tables, and one of them is a 12-foot table. The 12-foot table I never saw open, and I never saw more than two tables open at any one time. They had two crapless tables, and no, they had one crapless table, and the rest were regular tables. The crapless table was open whenever we got there. I'll tell you more about that here in a second. But um, whenever you get there, since I had all the tables, sorry, once you get there, all the tables are going to be on the left-hand side. When the last time I was there, all the tables were on the right-hand side and to the back. So when we uh, talked to one of the employees, they said that they had recently moved over all the tables and that changed the underlay, which makes sense because the last time I played over at El Dorado, they had a hard to neutral bounce to the table. And what we discovered was that they have an underlay that's more bouncy. It's mid to medium bounce. They have a closed cell foam underneath from what I could feel, and it felt like about a 16th inch closed cell foam type. It didn't feel like neoprene, but it was definitely noticeably squishier than a neutral or hard surface table. So that's that's El Dorado. Horseshoe had one, two. They had three tables that I remember, and only one of them was open at the time that we got there at the very beginning, and it was completely full. It was $10. Oh, El Dorado was a $10 minimum table for the crapless and for the other tables. But anyway, Horseshoe was a $15 minimum um, during the evening, and whenever we played, we were able to get onto a $10 table. But there's uh, two tables that were open. There were 12-foot tables. There were neutral tables. I wouldn't necessarily consider them hard, but they were neutral. So that was good. They have the ATS, or they call them the little ones, big ones, and boomer bust. Whereas El Dorado had the all tall small. El Dorado, I believe, paid 34, 174, and 34, whereas Horseshoe paid 30, 150, 30 for the all tall small. Um, okay, and then there was Samstown. Samstown had two 14-foot tables, one crapless, which wasn't open, and one regular that was open. And they have a bouncy table as well. I don't remember it being that bouncy, but it was well over a year ago that I played at Samstown, so uh, it was I would say a light to medium bounce for Sam's, and it was a $10 minimum table as well. Now Sam's tables don't open until about 6 or 5 p.m. and goes open and stays open until about 2 to 4 depending on the day. Uh, El Dorado, if it's Friday through Monday, they're open 24 hours. But Tuesday through Thursday, they're open at 10 a.m. and they stay open till like 2 or 4 depending on the day. Um, and Horseshoe, they say they open at 8, but they were open earlier whenever we got there, so I don't know. Uh, and they opened up a second table at 5 p.m. As you know, we found out, so that was pretty cool. Um, all right, so the first day we get there, early. It was the Don and myself that got there because we were both staying at El Dorado, and we were there early. Can't check in early. We get there about 10:30, and the craftless table is completely empty. So I'm like, heck yeah, we're gonna go play. Even though I told myself I wasn't gonna play, I couldn't resist going to a brand open table, or not brand new, but a completely open table where we can get stick left, one and two, and whatever position we wanted. So I went over there, put down $200. Didn't feel the table before I threw on it. Um, so picked up the dice because I usually never feel the table. I pick up the dice, put them down, I set them, and I throw. And I think I do a pretty good decent throw. I'm using a 3-2-3-6 set. Hit my landing zone where I think I'm, the equivalent of a 12-foot table landing zone, and they bounced weird. I looked at it and I'm like, wait a minute, that's not supposed to happen. I think I'm pretty sure I threw a seven, and I'm pretty sure it was a 6-1-7, and they didn't bounce like a normal hard surface or a neutral table like my table is. So that's when I decided like to feel it. I'm like, oh, this has bounce to it. And so I tried to adjust, but I couldn't. Um, I tried a higher trajectory, I tried a lower trajectory, I tried less power, I tried more power, I tried throwing my landing or moving my landing zone closer to the back wall. I changed it to further out, letting it bounce a little more and try to roll, let it kind of, you know, flat tire roll, I guess. Cashier Cage calls it, to the back wall. Nothing worked for me that day on Tuesday. I just figured it was uh, me being tired. I mean, just saying this is why I don't play on the first day. So I just called it a wash. Um, and we went to go check in, and then we went over to Horseshoe to meet up with St. James. Um, James Bond is now St. James. You can ask him about it if you know him. But anyway, went over to Horseshoe, got waited for him to check in, and we tried to play at that table. Um, and this is about, oh, 1 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we were able to get onto the Horseshoe table and did okay. I put in another $200, and after a round or two, I was up 100. So I didn't write down any of my rolls then, sorry, but I was up 100, and so I called it quits and went to the cage. I don't know what the Don and James ended up with because I don't keep up with the bank rolls just fine. So up $100 there. So I didn't realize I was down $100 still because I completely forgot. I had completely put El Dorado out of my mind, that $200 loss. Um, so by the time I went back up to the room, I just decided I was going to take a nap, and that was it. I was done. I wasn't going to play for the rest of the day. So negative $100 for the first day. Second day, wake up, decide to go down to uh, the crapless table because I just figured, hey, um, I was just tired. I didn't know what I was doing. Now I got this. I feel good. I had a good rest. Had a good breakfast about 7 o'clock. Went to the table, and we were able to get stick left and yeah, stick left two. Um, we shot. I put in $400. Uh, no, I put in $300, and I proceeded to lose that. So that was not fun. And James called up, so we decided to go over. Don and I decided to go over to Horseshoe, um, and we were able to get onto Horseshoe, and we played 3 sessions with Horseshoe. Um, so the first session, like it went James, St. James, the Don, and then myself. James and the Don did pretty well. Um, both sessions. The first session I threw 13. I had a 13 roller. I only made 1 point, and I had a bunch of sevens at the very beginning. So that very first set, uh, I used a 3-2-3-6 set at the very beginning, And like I usually do on my practice sessions, depending on how it rolled, I switch. But just to give you an idea of how long it took me to get dialed in on this table, I threw a 4-3-7, then a 2-1-3, and then a 6-5 yo, then another 7. I finally made a point of 5-4-9, so I felt good with 5-4-9. And I was still throwing uh, a 3-2-3-6 set, so I figured 5-4-9, I'm on access. That's cool. Let's go ahead and do this. I throw the very next throw, 5-4-9, so I made the point. Next throw after that, double pitch, 2-5-7. Next throw after that, 2-1-3, still on axis, but not good. Still double pitching. Then the next throw after that, 6-2. So I immediately switch to a 4-5-4-5 set. Then I get box cars, which meant that I drifted to the left. I try to correct my throw, 6-4-10. I'm like, okay, my left die is going off axis, which is what I wanted. Then I went back on axis, 5-4, 5-4-9. Then I 7'd out with a 6-1, so both die exploded on me, or imploded. No, exploded on me. So that was that. That was that first set. Went back around. James did pretty well. I think almost double digits. Believe Don was right there with him as well. And I threw another 10. I only made 1 point, but I only used the 4-5-4-5 set the entire time for this whole set. I didn't switch or do anything. So the very first throw was a 4-3-7, so I had to get that out of my system. It was a double pitch, so I tried to correct it with my grip. I was being more careful. Made a point of an 8. A couple throws later, made another 8. I'm not going to read this whole thing to you because I think that would be boring for y'all. So the second session, I threw 10. In the third session, that's when all three of us were dialed in. St. James had a mid-teen to high-teen throw. The Don had a mid-teen throw. And then I went on a 29th throw session. I made a point of 8, 5, 6, 10, and 10 again before I exploded the dice and 7'd out. So I felt pretty good about that. The only problem is, even though we had pretty decent rolls as a group, I didn't have the bankroll to sustain like a really good profit because I was down considerably by the time that I got up to my 23 or my 29 roller. I had, out of my entire bankroll, I had $465 left, and even so, $465 left. So I'm like, great, I can't really do too much with this because I wanted to play one more time later on. So I called it quits there. But I had come back up from 100. I was down all the way to 100 and something dollars, and with the 23 roller, I got all the way back up to almost $400 again. So that was that. Came back that night to play at about 5 o'clock because Horseshoe opened up another table at 5 o'clock. We went to go get lunch and all that other good stuff in between. I took a nap because I like naps, and I work nights, so I'm not used to being up during the day. So went back and we did 2 more sessions. I threw 11 on the first session, and I threw 10 on the second session. I made 2 points the first time around. I hit a 4 and a 10. Yeah. And on the second session, I threw 10. I made 1 point. No, that's not right. we had 3 sessions at Horseshoe at 5 p.m. So the first one was 11. The second one I .7 out. I hit a point of 9, and then I proceeded to throw a 4.37 double pitching, and then I had an 8 roller, which I set the point of 9 and never made it, and ended up doing a 5.27. Now this is when I was back down to $400. I had put in $600 altogether, and I was down to 400. And at this point, I was playing with scared money. I didn't want to lose anything else. So a rando was at the end of the table. I just got to the table, and he wanted a roll. So I was iffy on it. St. James and the Don had already called no joy, and I'm pretty sure they were up money. So they were done. But I wanted to see if I could throw one more time for it to be back around, because I was stick left one. So gentlemen, he kind of set the dice. He didn't set it to a specific set, but what he would do is I don't know if y'all might be able to see this. So he would put the dice down, throw it, do this, pick up the dice, circle it, let go, and throw, just like that. Pick up and throw, like it was a hot potato or something. But when I watched him throw a couple of times, he established a point, and then I watched him throw a couple more times. I don't remember what the numbers were, but they were box numbers. And he was throwing, I would consider him a rhythmic roller, because he did the exact same thing each and every time. But the dice were doing the exact same thing each and every time as well. They weren't rotating very much, but whenever they did rotate, they rotated together, even if they were one in front of the other. So I decided to, why the heck not? I'm going to spend $10 and put it on the 9. A couple rolls later, he hits the 9, so I'm like, oh, that's great. So I drop $1, make my 9 a quarter. So he keeps rolling. He throws another 9 like 2 rolls later. I'm like, wow, this is great. So I'm like, you know what? Let's gamble. Let's go all the way up. Went up to 60 on the 9. Then he throws another 9 and establishes it as the point. So I throw down $6 and make it 150. And he's throwing. Hits the 9 again. And no, he established the point of 9, then he hit the 9, and that's when I went up to 150, because I wasn't working on the come out roll. So at this point in time, it's about 30 minutes into it, 25, 30 minutes in. He's already hit the small. He's got one number left on the tall, and he hits a 9 after he's already established a point. Hits the 9, and I press it up all the way up. So we're at $360 on the 9. The dealer is just flabbergasted. He's like, you want to go all the way up? I'm like, yeah, all the way up. He's like, okay. So he wasn't using black chips because they were covered and the box man wasn't there. It was just the 2 bases and the stick person running the show while the box man was doing something. I don't know what, the box person. But he wasn't allowed to get the black chips without the box person there. So I had this stack of like green chips there. And he's like, you want to go all the way up? I'm like, yep. So I was like, okay. So the giant stack of green chips over here. I'm the only one playing on this side of the table, by the way. And everyone else is playing whatever they're playing over there. And he throws another 9. I'm ecstatic at this point, but I forget the progression, because I was using G-Dub's 5 and 9 progression, to where you start off with a quarter, you drop, you go all the way up, you drop 6, and so on and so forth. But I didn't remember that after you drop 6 and you go up to 150 and you hit and you full press, that you drop $36 to go to 900. I completely forgot about that, so I took down my bet, regressed all the way down to a quarter. He threw a couple more times. He hit the 12, so he made all of it. And then he hit another 9, so I got another, $35 out of that. But that was it. That brought me back up to $65 over for the entire trip. And then I went to Sam's Town to use my promotional chips. That's how I found out what conditions Sam's Town tables were. I was able to turn $40 in a promotional chip into $20, so I'm up at this point in time $86. And I was determined, like, I'm not going to play anything else. I'm only going to play the $86. But I went to bed. I woke up a gambler, and I decided, you know what? I want to make at least 20% out of this, not just $86. So I put in $400 and I lost that. After I was up and down, up and down, up and down, and then I said, screw it, let's put everything on the table and let's trust in my throw. Got 2 hits in. I was going to go for 5 hits and down. And on the 3rd hit, I 7'd out. So lost everything. But it was okay. Not that it's okay to lose money, but I know it was my own damn fault for losing that 400, where I should have just done my same strategy of 2 hits and then down, and I would have been completely fine. I would have had my 20%, well, closer to the 20%, than $86. But anyway, that's my trip report. I don't know when I'm going to go back to a casino. The next time that I know of for sure is in September in Vegas, but that's kind of up in the air right now too because of the whole COVID thing. And the air conditioning is going out in my car, so I might have to fix that. So that might be a little costly as well. So, all right. If y'all have gotten this far, thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. And y'all have a great night. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop them down below, and I'll try to get to them as soon as I can. And y'all have a great night. Have a good rest of your weekend. And have a great week. Talk to y'all later. Bye.